What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part, I want to say, 58 of my Total Warhammer 3 Ikit Claw Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, it seems that while the ranged armies are performing pretty much as expected and Ikkit's army always overperforming, the melee armies are doing surprisingly well, both Queeks and in particular Metabol's army winning despite the fact that they don't have a particularly good, I want to say, setup to fight the dwarfs in particular. So I'm happy for those two, they've done a pretty great job. That said, the minor clans are not a problem. The biggest issue we have on the field right now is poor little Mutant here. It's looking like it's going to be his last stand fairly shortly. We have 6 armies belonging to the clan Angren dwarfs, and we failed every attempt at an ambush. I suppose in true tradition for the last several episodes, we're going to try by starting an attempt at an ambush with Mutant one more time. He has no more movement remaining, so this is the last attempt he gets before he tries to hole up in Xerexil and survive the onslaught. We shall see, I suppose. Alright, come on, Mutant. Come on, man, I believe in you. Yes, the relief. Okay, this means we'll be able to destroy at least one army. It's not much, but, well, I still doubt that he can survive 5, but it's a lot better than 6, I suppose. And there's a lot of melee infantry in this army as well. Oh, man. Alright, well, let's see how his army does. We've been trying to get this ambush going for several episodes now, and with the very last sliver of movement points. I actually hope that he still has enough movement points after this to return to the settlement, because if he doesn't, it's going to be a problem. And though I do notice that the settlement garrison has come out to help out as well. Interesting. Interesting. Could have still, even if we didn't get the ambush, could have still been useful. Well, either way, I guess it's time to attack. Let's see. Ah, Mutant, my little friend, your day has come at last. I'm so glad that we'll at least get one ambush with him before he possibly dies to the attack of the other 5 armies. We've also deployed a little tiny bit differently than we usually deploy in these ambushes, in that we've separated our Jezzails into attacking from various angles at the same time, which is probably a good thing because A, they're not focused on the same units, B, they can focus on the range units before they can hopefully fire, and C, if the enemy runs at them, since we don't have a melee line, we can back them off and continue to fire from other angles, because obviously this army doesn't have any melee troops in case something goes horribly wrong. Anyway, what it does have is plenty of range, so the Jezzails are firing, and here come the mortars and the plague claws as well, gonna land nearly at the same time. It looks like a very decent amount of damage into the middle of the enemy Ironbreakers there. Looks like the enemy Rune Lord is also dropping quite quick under fire from 2 units of Jezzails, while the other Jezzails keep focusing enemy ranged units down. And it looks like wherever the enemy Lord is kind of a liability, as he is getting absolutely bombarded by a few of our units, and it now looks like a decent amount of the enemy melee are drawing closer to our warp fire throwers, so we will have to be a little bit careful about that. We did deploy close enough, or rather, perhaps a little bit too close at half range for most of our range units, so that our plague claws and our Jezzails and our mortars could have been deployed significantly further back should we have desired it. But considering the fact that we have this hill and the fact that the enemy doesn't have any artillery of their own, I figured we should be able to take them out even with this. Plus we do have the hill advantage here as well. Also, this is a pretty lovely bombardment, I gotta say. I'm very much enjoying this army's work so far. Who needs melee troops? I mean, Ikkit knows all about that. Alrighty, some Slayers are running in, but both into Jezzail's and Warpfire and the Death Globe as well. Death Globes, rather. And we do summon a single unit of Menace Below Clan Rats to block off these Giant Slayers here. Of course, the Clan Rats will probably die fairly quickly due to friendly fire, but as long as they block the enemy just for a few seconds, they will probably, and by they I mean the enemy, and get killed by our range prowess here. There we go. Okay, just burninate the screen instead of the enemy, thanks. And with that, it looks like the enemy army is just about ready to shatter. They have been absolutely decimated with very, very few, if any, losses. It looks like we might have taken a hit to a couple of our warpfire throwers, but I'm not actually sure that was due to the enemy so much as our own friendly fire. Just like Ikkit's army, really. Pretty darn good, at least in ambush. I would like to see how this army would fare in a one-on-one on the field, but I guess we'll have to see that later. Alrighty, though it might not be Mutant leading this army afterwards, because I'm not a big fan of his trait, but we shall see. Anyway, just a little bit more bombardment, and the Jezzails will continue hitting everybody in the center from 3 angles, which I do really like. And burninating those woods and Death Globe and anybody left in there as well. Too bad for the dwarfs in the fact that they move so slow, though. And because while the dwarfs are unable to dodge our catapults and mortars, other factions might be able to dodge them quite well. I would imagine it would be a lot more difficult to hit a pile of ogres with these things than it would be to hit dwarfs or undead. And there we go. But this does work out well for us. When the ambush succeeds, especially. Alright, down go the rest of these guys. I'm going to enjoy this battle as much as I can since it's Mutant's only ambush here. There you go, Jezzails and Mortars and Plague Claws, and it looks like most of the enemy army is dead. Mutants still riding around in the background. There's a few units to kill, but I think we can speed up through the rest of that. There we are. Definitely a decisive victory. I'm not sure that there were much losses, if any, and the enemy failed to make it up this hill, though they did get a little bit uncomfortably close. The Clan Rat summon did bail us out just on time. Well done, Mutant. Well done. There we go. I find it so funny that Mutant is probably the best army we have specifically for ambushes other than Ikkit's, and it's the one that completely failed to get ambushes all these times. At least we got one. We don't have any more move remaining to get anymore, and he barely even got hurt. That's the thing. This army was literally designed to fight dwarfs, and damn. Oh well. Let's see. We are going to eat captives, obviously. It's just 3 units recovered, but it's something. And now I'm curious, Mutant. How much move do you have remaining after that? Ooh, not much at all, huh? And do you move forward after that? You got a glittering scales, and, well, looks like we're stuck. Looks like we're stuck. Mutant, this will be your last stand. So you, having succeeded your one ambush, are going to move back, and you are going to get attacked. It looks like we will be able to draw the garrison out, so at least we'll have them as reinforcements to hide behind. I doubt that he could take out 5 armies, especially as several of them have a bunch of artillery pieces, which would be able to fire back at us. But nonetheless, well done, Mutant. I think it's going to be an absolutely glorious last stand for him. Though, you know, we have 1 Warpstorm Doom Rocket, and we could build another one. We actually finally have enough warp fuel. With 2 Doom Rockets, can he beat the army? It really depends on if the enemy blobs up or not. Well, it's not yet time to end the turn, but maybe. It would be pretty epic if Mutant did survive. It would also make Boil Run's army completely unnecessary. What are you again? Oh, you're gonna join this army. What do you have in terms of your trade? Oh yeah, you have disciplined, which is completely useless for this army, and you have strong, which is frankly not that great, but a little bit of extra armor and stuff could help you on your doom wheel, and in fact, that gave you your doom wheel as well as your brass orb, which could certainly help out. Oh, and he has bonded service instead of ancient cunning, which is another problem. I didn't realize that. I had forgotten that we used bonded service for him. Wow, what we should have done was reset his skills and put the ambush chance higher. Oh man, that is absolutely a gaffe on my part. Although I suppose, I mean, I originally got the reset character, the one-button respec for lords that we got from allies. Would it be too much to be using it for our own lords as well? I don't know. Damn you, bonded service. Yeah. Okay, well, still, he did a good job. I'll think about respecing him slightly. If in fact he's going to fight against 5 armies, he probably won't get much use out of any of these skills, in fact. And would probably be better getting Blastmaster for all of these units. They're high level, these guys would benefit from Blastmaster. Unfortunately, neither of these two would, but it could be a fairly considerable power-up that he doesn't currently have. Yeah, seems like we should. I don't want him to die just like that, not after all that effort. Alrighty, let's see what else we gotta do in this particular turn. Medable can still attack, although, if he does, this is a much more problematic army for him. That is a lot of Iron Breakers and Hammerers. I'm not actually sure he could defeat them. Although I might be willing to try, but we'll see. What else? Well, Ikkit is always here, but he's the last one I'm thinking about, to be perfectly honest, mostly because, well, he can take care of himself and we can do stuff with his army whenever we damn well please. What about Queek? We have this army with a pile of artillery. Queek would like to get an ambush on this. Well, we can try, and if the ambush fails, back off and then try somebody else, because Queek actually still has movement points remaining. So let's try him first. Alright, Queek, and no ambush, back off. Not against those artillery. Across the field of battle, that's going to be bad. But if he keeps failing and we run out of movement points, I think we'll actually attack him either way. Even across the field. Dangerous as it may be. And just because there's only one real lord left there. Alrighty, now who else? Ooh, we haven't done anything with Cyprus in a while. His army is, it's not great. It's certainly not great, but if we could kill just one more of these, it would become a lot less of an issue. Alright, I guess we can try one more ambush. You also have bonded service, don't you? You know what? Let's get 2 more points at Ancient Cunning for you then. I mean, this guy wasn't even supposed to be a lord, and he kind of still isn't. As in, he's a temporary army. And just sort of here to defend some extra stuff. The alternative would be to get 1 point to the 3 Giselles, which kind of doesn't feel worth it. Yeah, let's get Ancient Cunning. 1 more point would just be perfect. Here we could reset his skills, but I don't think so. I don't want to abuse the ability. Alrighty, give it a try, man. Mordim Growlsh. Growlsh? Growlsh? Growlsh. Honestly, that almost sounds like an another Growlsh. That almost sounds like an Orky name or even a Skaven name. It doesn't sound like a Dwarven name, doesn't? Does it? Growlsh? Unless it's, Growlsh, I don't know. Could be that. Could be something else. As in, it has nothing to do with growl. It just, you know, similar. Anyway, what are the Dwarven names based on, generally? Where are the other dwarfs? Redmane, Candoom, Zufbarden, Ragbrow, Ironbeard. Okay, well, they're just really dwarven names, mostly. Okay, well, either way. Well, let's give it a try, Cyprus. You haven't fought in a while. Go for Mordrim. Mordim. And no ambush, man. No ambush. You can't fight 2. There's no way. Your army is garbage. Retreat. And I think we have the opportunity to try 1 more time, but it won't be now. Queek and you have failed. We still have Metable and we still have Ikkit. Oh, right, and then you. I could try with Ikkit, I suppose. It honestly doesn't really matter who we attack with Ikkit. Or whether ambush succeeds or not. Oh, there's this guy. Alright, fine. Ikkit time, I guess. Do you two need to level up? Ooh, you got the next level of Mentor. Yes. Yes, more XP for everybody else. In fact, now that I think about it, maybe we should do a bunch of battles with Ikkit at once, because here's what I'm thinking. Wait, let's get you Scorch, I guess. It's the only thing, right? And then you have only one level in Mentor, but here's the thing. Every time Ikkit fights, he gains XP and transfers it. He has 1 point in Mentor, and then we can put 1 point in... I forgot where I was gonna put it, but it doesn't really matter right now. Maybe into Trixie for even more spell resistance. He's at 57, which is pretty good. Or Death Frenzy or something. Well, I'll hold on to that point. But yeah, every time Ikkit fights, he transfers a decent amount of XP from himself as well as the other warlocks. Which means possibly more level ups for the other armies, which could come in handy, like that extra ambush point. And I suppose more potential for warp fuel as well. Does Ikkit even have a buff for collecting warp fuel? I feel like he should be able to collect warp fuel better than other lords. Yeah, plus 50% chance to acquire warp fuel after battle. It just like, it feels like he hasn't been the one acquiring warp fuel lately. But you know what? Maybe that'll change right now. And of course he succeeds in his ambush. He doesn't have sneaky, and none of his he doesn't have any buffs from anybody that give him more ambush chance, but he's gotten 3 ambushes in a row now, whereas poor Mutant had to work so hard just for 1. Nonetheless, it's always glorious to see Ikkit do his thing, so let's watch. Alrighty, time for Ikkit to start cleaning house a little bit. And this time I tried a very slightly different formation, or at least a slight variation of the formation that we've been using so far. We're deployed a little bit closer to the enemy, though of course this allows us more range on the enemy back here. But rather than sort of a V formation, more of like a semicircle formation back here. I don't know whether this will make much of a difference, but well, it's all about testing these things. We're also getting one of those Doom rockets from our engineer here, moving right into those trolls, which are in a pretty terrible position, and generally speaking, with all those rattling guns firing on them at the same time. They are kind of acting as a wall of flesh, however, probably blocking a decent amount of shots from hitting those squigs, but the sheer amount of firepower should be able to knock them down without too much trouble. And alrighty, let's speed it up to normal and see just, well, actually, that was 12 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units are dead in 12 seconds. And that's why I had it on slow motion, because you'll blink and you'll miss it. That's Ikkit's army, basically. Alrighty, well, the rest of those trolls are gonna get gunned down real quick, and we're going to have to switch to working on the enemy cavalry back here. Now, the enemy have brought a ton of chariots and cav to play this time around, so we will definitely have to be a bit careful. Ikkit's running around, or riding around, and moving around, whatever, trying to block some of them off and trying to do some damage as well. The enemy lord being focused down by all 3 of our units of Giselles right now, and in fact tries to land but fails to do so and dies while in the air. And indeed the rest of his army just pretty much dead already. Most of the units are shattered, a few do remain here. One single unit of Savage Orc Boar Boys nearly made it to our warp fire throwers, but it looks like they sort of ran around them and through the woods here. Kind of a bizarre move on their part, and it doesn't look like it's going to really achieve anything. There we go. A runaway, especially with Ikkit chasing after you. I wish we could somehow give Pumpernickel a gun, so that they should they should just update Ikkit's model or his Doom Wheel so that it's slightly different as its special, and just give Pumpernickel a gun, so that while he's pumping, he can also shoot people. Give him an extra ranged attack. And pretty nice Warp Lightning there, hitting right in the enemy as they run away, and I do believe with that the rest of the army shatters. A decent amount of infantry actually just basically booked it to the to the escape point per team hunch at the start of the battle there, so we can't catch those. But once again, these armies will be non-viable after all this, so it's not a big deal either way. And I think we can speed up through the rest of that. A super quick ambush, but they're always super quick when Ikkit's concerned. Alright, well, not too much damage whatsoever there, but a little bit more enemies escaped than I would have liked. They did have a lot of fast movers though. Well, insofar as you consider the trolls to be fast movers, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 units of cavalry slash chariots of various kind, plus the 3 trolls, so hardly surprising. And they did mostly run, to be fair, so, yeah. Alrighty, well, with that, I think we'll get even more food, and hey, we're in the green now, the real green, so we got more control, and more importantly, that plus 10 to leadership when in own territory for all armies. This should be helpful on the defense, and it should be helpful in Mutan's Last Stand as well. Unfortunately, we couldn't acquire any more warp fuel, but what can you do? Alrighty, let's take the food. Alrighty, and these guys are gonna move deeper into the mountains. Well, that's interesting for them, I suppose. Let's see, Ikkit, you still have movement points remaining, though it'll take moves to get to all of these guys. Who do we go after next? You know what, I have an idea. We're starting to run out of time, but maybe we fight like 2 more battles just with Ikkit right now. And oh, neither of the warlocks leveled up, is a little bit unfortunate. Fight more battles with oh, we did acquire another warp fuel. Fight 2 more battles with Ikkit right now. Maybe I'll just splice them together in the editing, because it's a real pain in the ass to edit more battles than... Well, more battles than 1 is already a pain in the ass to edit. 3 is a huge pain in the ass, and any more than that is ridiculous. But, yeah, if I just splice the part where the post-battle analysis happens, just go battle, 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 and we can do a couple more. Alright, let's try that. I'm gonna see if it happens. Also, if the editing looks weird in this episode, I'm sorry, but it's necessary. And if I don't end up doing it, depending on how the editing goes, well then... the rest of this will just be a normal episode, and you can ignore all this ranting that I'm doing here. So, Ikkit, let's go again. Let's have you attack Mork's Chosen, you say. Mork's Chosen to die? Well, let's get you. Bit of an arrogant... seriously, 4 ambushes in a row. Why? Why is Ikkit the one that keeps succeeding at this? Granted, Ikkit likes to tends to succeed at whatever he does, but, unbelievable. Once again, he doesn't have bonuses to ambush as far as I'm aware. Maybe he has 1 from a defeat trait or something, but he seems to be getting a lot more ambushes than other lords who actually have bonuses to ambush. I guess he does have Ancient Cunning, but other than that, I mean, he doesn't have, like, additional traits. Anyway, 1 more time, at least. Alrighty, here we go, round 2 for Ikkit's army, and we're going to try this little semicircle formation 1 more time. We did it all V formations last time, or last 2 times I guess we fought with Ikkit, and now we're gonna try something once again, very, very slightly different. That said, this army is probably one of the least concerning of the armies that Ikkit's faced, not that any of them have been any kind of concerning. They have 4 units of Black Orcs, which would be very concerning to several other armies, but they're far too slow to ever get to our battle lines, so we just plain don't care about them. And as this is the second battle, which Ikkit hasn't done in a while, I think we're going to just try to clean house of all of the orcs around here, plus once again, the concept of getting as much of that XP and warp fuel that we can, maybe to save Mutant with some extra nukes, we'll see. Alrighty, getting a little bit of angles from our own battle lines. Let's see what we see. Usually we see what the enemy sees, which is just horrifying fire coming from the sky in every direction. But what do our own ratlings spy here? Actually, the ratling guns can't see much. There's a very, very slight hill, but at least they're still able to fire, so that does make me happy. And it does look like the semicircle formation is working a little bit better, perhaps. It's certainly working decently. I think the units that are here fire a little better, because normally when in the V, and they don't fire... Well, actually, they don't exist here, because it's more like units here and units here, without these. I'm not entirely sure. We'll try it again. Obviously, absolutely minor differences, and let's see, 20 seconds into the battle, the enemy army is about halved. We haven't really started on those black orcs, and they're trying to get away, but, well, obviously we'll see about that. Alrighty, Ikkit's gonna run around. The enemy is flying through a hail of sniper bullets, as well as that warp lightning cannon firing on it. Let's see who gets to bring him down. I'm willing to bet it'll be the Giselles, and yes, indeed it is. Well done, and he falls a little bit short of the pile of bodies that he was flying to, and it looks like the rest of the army is just running away. They're all having a very bad day, and the Black Orcs are starting to waver. They're not quite dead yet, but I'm sure they will be done for soon. Unfortunately, the escape area is a little bit close, so a few of them will definitely escape this, but we've still got plenty of chasing in us. Plus our warp fire throwers and our rattling guns have started to move earlier than normal, so they should still be able to catch a few units. Our Giselles are firing overhead, and the battle technically isn't over, as some Black Orcs are still fighting the summoned clan rats from the menace below. Get them all down, Ikkit. Hopefully we can get some more warp fuel. Once again, I just love watching heavily armored units get obliterated by the snipers. All that armor doesn't matter when you lose your head to a single sniper bullet. I'd almost love to see Cathian allies just to compare the Giselles to the crane gunners. That'd be interesting. Oh, and our rattling guns have moved forward and absolutely wrecked that poor unit of Savage Orc Error boys. One left alive and then took approximately 1,000 bullets to his back and hosed down with some fire as well. And there we go, the rest of the enemy army shatters. We will continue giving chase to at least a few of them, but yet another quick battle as Ikkit continues to clean house. I think we have 2 more stacks remaining after this, plus the, well, 2 full stacks, I think, unless I've lost count. And then several of the halves, that were not half stacks, but like damage stacks remaining, plus of course the massive Horcal's garrison itself, so there's all that to consider. Anyway, Ikkit's gonna get a few more charges in. Of course, he can't quite kill the enemy Black Orcs all that quickly, unfortunately. At least not with his charges. He needs magics and stuff to do that, which is where most of his damage comes from. Don't make him sick pumpernickel on you. Alrighty, just watching Ikkit ride around since we haven't seen him actually engage in combat too much over the last few episodes, mostly because he just runs around rather than fights in melee and stuff like that. But obviously he's on a doom wheel, so that's not surprising. And also in these ambushes, everybody usually dies before Ikkit needs to actually commit to any kind of action. Anyway, another decisive victory, unsurprisingly. More of the broken axes lie broken, and I'm sure there will be plenty more to come. Alrighty, damn it. Looks like that plan didn't quite work out. What I wanted to do is have several battles, essentially, one after another in a single thing, but it looks like Ikkit here is stuck because he's in the zone of control of the Massive Orcal, so we will have to siege it, or we'll have to sack it. I don't know whether we actually have to manually do this or whether we can auto-resolve, but I wouldn't trust the auto-resolve since we're so near so many armies. Maybe if we sack it, we'll be able to move one more time, as it'll force the army to back off, so maybe we'll be able to attack at least one more army. And honestly, at this point, I feel like it would be beneficial if Ikkit didn't get an ambush going. Because if we could draw in like three armies at once and have him fight them all, it would mean less of moving around like this. But still, he's done a pretty great job so far. Now we got a tiny bit of admin to do here still, though we are basically out of time. I guess Mutin... Well, no, it would be pointless to have you do any global recruitment because you're probably gonna die here. Well, same with this mutant, but you, Boil Run, you could definitely do some global recruitment. Now, we are probably going to be here for at least 2 turns, and your global recruitment is reasonably cheap, so let's get some death globes. And, ooh, actually, no. There's a faster way. You can use global to get cheap plague claws in high numbers, and as we've already seen, they're pretty darn good against piles of dwarven armies, so we'll do that to start off with. I'm almost tempted to even get a few more units of allied stuff in here, though we actually don't have that many good ones remaining. In fact, we don't really have any of the good ones remaining. I was thinking about getting some units to at least hold the line for free, because they can be gotten really cheap. I mean, I guess we could get Ungors, but their leadership is so low. And who knows, maybe at some point we'll actually get access to the good units from these guys. And still no good units from these guys. I actually don't particularly care about the recruitment from our Chaos allies, because we're unlikely to ever have access to any of their good stuff. Still no mammoths, eh? Damn, I want some of those in Molder. You know what we could do? We could build some Chaos Warriors in these armies, just temporarily, mind you. Let's say 2 from you, and 2 from... Oh, okay, well it'll have to be the Fecondites then. I wouldn't want to waste the precious allegiance from the Khornate armies, because they have the cav we want. Yeah, they've got some damn solid cav. Chaos Knights and Chaos Knights without lances and the Blood Crushers, all of which would be great. Flesh Hounds are also a great addition to pretty much any army and are superior to the Wolf Rats most likely, although I would have to wonder whether they would still be so at max buffs. But yeah, there we go. You'll be able to build a lot of units in one round, and then after a second turn you'll be maxed out and ready to help after, well, whatever happens to Mutant. Anyway, I believe, well, I guess we could do a little bit of building, even if it's not that interesting. We'll have to do some of it sometime. Is there anywhere where walls... And I think we checked this last episode, but just in case, we should double check anything here that's important. It's not looking like it. We could upgrade Fort Oberstyre in the hopes that it manages to survive, but I doubt it. On the other hand, maybe we can use it to slightly damage one dwarven army at least. You never know, so just upgrade it. It's not like the loss of 3,000 gold is going to change anything. Flensburg, ooh, yes, actually we do want the walls upgraded there. And we can get the... You know what, let's get a temporary Taskmaster's platform here, because the public order in this particular province ain't so great. Actually, all of these territories are the ones that are the most likely to fall, so we should probably start upgrading those. In fact, Nuln, we should probably upgrade your walls to the max. After all this investment into Nuln, it would be really unfortunate to lose it. Let's also build, while we're here, the Construction Cavern, which is quite cheap. And we could build another Plague Abbey, but, well, actually, yeah, this is probably a pretty good place to have a Plague Abbey, because it has the Assassin's Hideout, so fine. Plague Abbey it is. It'll mean a little bit less money, because we'll lack the Rubbish Pit. Oh, and ironically, the Rubbish Pit would be better than the Breeding Pit, wouldn't it? And because it would allow us to recruit cheaper. Not by much, mind you, but still cheaper. Yeah, alright, fine. Let's build U-Pox Cauldron, then we'll delete the breeding pit and replace it with the other thing. Not like we need growth here, and actually all of these breeding pits, I guess, should be replaced by rubbish piles. Though we would be losing out on a lot of casualty replenishment right here. Hopefully we won't need it, and if this is going to be a province where we potentially recruit stuff, then once again. Now... is there anything else? I want to keep at least 20-ish K, and you know what? Let's check diplomacy. I feel like we haven't checked that in a while either. Here, you can have this. Diplomacy. Anything useful? Scaling, Harbinger of Disaster still really likes us, but they don't have any, they don't have any settlements still, and they're still fighting the exiles. Khemri cares, but we don't care about them right now, because we're probably going to declare war on them later. Heralds of the Tempest we're fine with. Caravan and Blue Roses still liking us more and more. And I think really there isn't much. We could get a military alliance straight up with the Warhost of the Apocalypse. The problem there is that they have a tendency to get into a bunch of fights. And that we may not necessarily want right now. Yeah, I feel like we'd probably want to avoid any unnecessary fights right now, or at least any extra fights, because we're already dealing with so much. Anyway, I think with that, I'm going to call the episode here. And good job to Mutant, great job to Ikkit as always. Next time, I guess we'll take out the Massive Forcal, or sack the Massive Forcal, and then see if we can't get another one of these armies afterwards. I'm thinking that, yeah, once again, we probably want to transfer as much XP from Ikkit. Oh. You have Mentor now. In the next level, and you have the first level. Oh wait, you both have them at level 2. Yeah, so that'll be great, and that'll mean more levels for other units, and hopefully Ikkit will help level up a few more lords by fighting, because by the looks of it, Mutant here is near to level 16. And there may be other lords which could definitely benefit. There are a few definite low-level lords. I don't know how much XP is actually transferred. I haven't actually taken a look at what 15% actually means, but Ikkit is fighting a lot. Anyway, more rats to come, though there are few minor clan armies remaining now, so soon we'll have to turn to the major clans, so stay tuned for that. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. I swear this turn will end someday. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.